Magandang bisperas ng Biyernes sa inyong lahat. 8 days na lang Pasko na. Welcome sa December 17, 2020 edition ng The Stock Market Today. Ako po si Benji Chidoro, nag-aanyaya na samahan ninyo ko at sabay nating tignan ang mga latest na balita tungkol sa ating paboritong stocks. Kasama po dyan ang MRC, URC at ang resulta ng trading sa ating PSE ngayong araw, Thursday, December 17, 2020. Dito lamang sa The Stock Market Today. The PSEI ended at 7298.02, 1.68 points down or 0.02%. It ended flat. And it's just hovering at resistance level just below the 7300 level. And if we'll take a look at the market activity, 195 companies advanced, 117 declined, while 49 remained unchanged. As for the sectoral indices, the holding companies and the services ended positive, while the financials, industrials, mining, and properties ended in the red. The all-share indices, however, it barely changed, 0.16. So 0.00% po siya. So in other words, the index barely moved. And this reflected on the sectoral indices. Yung mga sectoral indices, yung movement niya is not more than 1%. It's less than 1%. So let's take a look at the most active companies or active stocks. Let's review SMPH, BSC, SM, PHA, MRC, MBT, CNPF, BDO, AC, and URC. We have news on MRC and URC. So let's start with SMPH. SMPH continues to consolidate. Actually, the nearest support, it is just at support level at 37.80, while the nearest resistance is at 39.48. So we expect the stock to move sideways, just as the index is moving sideways. And then let's take a look at BSC. Okay, BSC had a positive outcome, but there is a long wick here, meaning that during the day the prices went up as high as 56 centavos, but sellers pushed the prices down to settle at 46.5 centavos. But 6.9% increase is relatively large in terms of the PSE, and there was more than average volume on the stock. Now, the nearest resistance for BSC would be, actually this is the highest level of basic energy, so I cannot place, in the absence of historical data, I cannot place where the resistance is, but the nearest support would be 40.77, 0.40 and 77. So if the volume would hold, the stock would probably move higher, but since there was selling pressure today, we have to wait for tomorrow. Let's see if there will be a red candlestick or a green candlestick. However, our indicators are telling us that there is still a bullish trend on the stock, since it opened higher than the closing price yesterday, and it closed higher today. Okay, next let's take a look at SM. Okay, SM. had a green result today, 1.77%, a modest increase. And it will just move sideways. Let's draw a Darvas box. Medyo wide yung supported resistance to SM. The nearest resistance would be at 1094, while the nearest support is at 168. So it will just move within that range until year end. And then let's take a look at PHA. PHA ended with a red candlestick, but it had a gap up. It had a gap up today, but the closing price was lower than the previous day's closing, and hence a red candlestick. But there is still an upward movement based on our indicators. Now, since this is a red candlestick, the sign that the trend is reversing is another red candlestick to confirm that there is a change in trend. So abangan po natin bukas kung merong red candlestick to. Kung green candlestick yan, and the height of the candlestick is just the same as the previous candlestick, then probably the stock is just consolidating. Otherwise, there may be a change in trend. And then let's take a look at MRC. Okay, MRC had a gap up today, but the closing price is higher than the previous days, kaya green tong nasa kanan. Pero the chart showed a red candlestick. And during the day, the stock moved as low as 0.57. So, ang nakikita ko lang dito is that it can go either way. So, and remember, there is a gap formed here, and that gap will have to be filled sometime soon, since the closing price is still under the candlestick, which would indicate a bullish trend. So, abangan po natin bukas, kung another red candlestick yan, then most probably there is a change in trend. Ngayon, kung green candlestick yan, then maaring mag-consolidate yan o tumuloy pataas. And then let's take a look, meron tayong news dito kay MRC. Let's pull that up. So meron siya dito, December 17, comprehensive disclosure for the memorandum of agreement entered between MRC Allied and 5G. Due to the volume of attachments to be submitted, the disclosure will be in parts. Okay, the plan to acquire the plan to acquire majority and control of Kerberos Corporation stemmed from the shifting of MRC Allied to a holding company. MRC wanted to solidify its entry to the holding industry. MRC Allied has been in talks with 5G for the acquisition of Kerberos Corporation. The addition of Kerberos Corporation would allow MRC to have significant stake in the corporation. So MRC is acquiring another company, Kerberos Corporation, and that is why the stock is acting that way. So if you'll notice, let me give the... So in the past few days, it has been going up, and right now, it had a red candlestick. So just to continue, would allow MRC to have significant stake that can offer Wi-Fi and Internet service to the public. Due to the initial talks with the mentioned corporation, MRC management decided to open it up with the board during the December 3 board meeting, and at the time, the President and CEO asked authorization to negotiate. During the next few days, additional information discussed between the parties ended having to enter with initial preparatory agreement. On December 9, MRC and 5GS entered into a memorandum embodying the initial preparatory agreement to acquire. Okay, so in other words, there is already an agreement that MRC will be acquiring Kerberos Corporation, but the stock ended negative today. Okay. Now next, let's take a look at MBT. Okay, NBT is moving sideways. It shed 0.20 points or 0.40%. And right now, it is just moving within this area. So, dyan lang siya gumagalaw. Just like, yan. Hindi, mag-draw tayo ng ano. Let's draw another one. I think a channel would be more appropriate. The channel started here. Pero ngayon nagko-consolidate lang siya. So right now, I can see the support at the EMA 20, 48.84. And the resistance would be at 51 or 52 is the nearest resistance. EMA 20 is support, that's 48.84. Okay, let's now go to CMPF. CNPF is just moving sideways, and I can draw a Darvas box here. So dyan lang siya nag-move. Pero meron net foreign buying siya dito, no? So ang kanyang upper level, which is the resistance, is at 18, while the lower level, which is the support, is at 17. So dyan lang siya mag-move. In other words, the 20-day exponential moving average is just piercing through the candlesticks, which is a sign of consolidation. And then let's take a look at BDO. Wow, BDO continues to move higher, although this is a doji here. A doji is an uncertain candlestick. So if we see a red candlestick the following day, then it is probable that the trend is reversing. However, if we see a green candlestick, then the stock may be moving higher. I see a bearish divergence on the RSI. Ingat lang po tayo dito, although BDO is a good stock. So, ang pinaka-resistance niya is, pinakamalapit is nandito. 25. I think I already said this yesterday. 25 on nearest resistance, while the nearest support is here, 110 or 111. There. So, bangan lang po natin si BDO. Okay, next let's take a look at Ayala Corporation. One of the oldest companies in the Philippines. Ayala Corporation started in the Spanish time, red candlestick, although nag-consolidate lang si Ayala, no? With a resistance at 168 and a support at 817. So as with the index, sideways lang ang movement ni Ayala Corporation. A good time to buy is kung bumaba siya to 817. And a good time to sell is at 168 to 169. Then URC. URC is our last stock. Meron siyang hanging man. Now this is a hanging man. It ended in the red, no? Closed up at 158, opened at 158.50, closed at 157. But alternate yung candlestick niya, red, then dalawang green, red. Mukhang as with the index and BDO and the rest of the index stocks, nagko-consolidate pa rin siya. Pero take note, no, higher yung kanyang movement. And it's either mag-consolidate or a green candlestick would indicate that it is consolidating. Another green would indicate that it is moving higher. Meron siyang news dito. And may I put that up? Now, URC is named top exporter for food and beverage sector, which is good news for URC. So we will see more bullish sentiment for URC in the coming days with that news. Yan po ang ating stock market report, December 17, 2020. Ito po si Benji Chodoro, laging nagpapaalala, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. See you again tomorrow. Maraming salamat and bye for now.